They say that knowledge is power, knowing is half the battle, and other platitudes. Before the advent of the internet, knowledge was gatekept by expensive education costs, low availability of books, and low literacy rates. Now, we can access the totality of collective human intelligence in the palms of our hands. But is there such a thing as knowing too much? What if just knowing has a detrimental effect on your grasp on reality, truth, and reason? Wickerbottom, while closing out the library she managed, had an encounter with the shadows. Searching for clues in her notes, it wasn't long before she was engulfed in flames and confronted by Maxwell to save her collection. But we all know how dealing with him goes. With 125 health, 150 hunger, and 250 sanity, she's your run-of-the-mill, cranky old librarian. Many who don't know her might shrug her off as just that, but unbeknownst to them, she holds within her brain swaths of information like a database about every conceivable subject, including the occult. My name is Limelichen. Brush up on your classical literature and index those encyclopedias as I tell you about how it feels to play Wickerbottom. I don't know if speed comes to mind when you think of old women, but Wickerbottom is setting records. Beginning playthroughs, she has all science machine prototypes unlocked. With this, she can focus her efforts on exploration rather than trying to obtain backpacks or shovels. You can feel the time savings adding up. Before you know it, you're knee-deep in ancient magic, and it's not even the first winter! Other characters are definitely capable of rushing ruins, but I think Wickerbottom is superior. This only comes at a slight cost. She obviously cannot gain sanity from schematics she already knows. I don't know who's relying on prototyping for sanity recovery, but there you go. She also cannot sleep, as she's an insomniac, although that might be a good thing depending on the circumstances. This will come to affect you eventually, as much of her abilities come at the cost of her sanity. The only sources that I've found consistent are green mushrooms and cacti. Okay, you could eat some ice cream or drink soothing tea, but doing hard drugs is way more fun. On that note, she hates for her food to be anything but at the peak of freshness. When stale, she only replenishes 1/3 what other characters do, and when spoiled, she'll just refuse to eat it outright. Anyways, having all the science machine schematics unlocked means using one lets her prototype all the alchemy engine ones. She's saving you time and gold. She's like those fast food coupons you get in the mail, except without the coronary disease. More than just being extremely well-read, she does her own self-publishing. Ms. Wickerbottom can write 17 different books for an array of magic spells. From A to Z, she's got a book for it all, from weather manipulation, familial conjuring, plant growth, and even spontaneous generation of photons. If you want to reuse books, you can store them away in Wickerbottom's bookcase for 2% durability restored per minute. This is also the crafting station for much of her book recipes. We've got a lot to go through, so I'll organize them by effect and begin with the agricultural series, which I think everyone would get the most use out of. Horticulture Abridged, with 5 uses, grows 10 plants that produce food to max level, but won't make farm plants giant. And Applied Silviculture, with 5 uses, grows everything else, but cuts the remaining growth cycles in half. This doesn't include marble trees, maybe due to the fact they aren't alive. It also doesn't work during the winter as all plant growth is halted. There is the sequel to Horticulture Abridged, called Horticulture Expanded, which does the same thing, except its range is 15, not 10. Naturally, you'd want an ability to farm food en masse in a game called Don't Starve. Twigs, grass, and wood are universal, and you can never have enough of them. Next up are the Conjuring books. Angler's Survival Guide, with 3 uses, brings ocean fish closer to the surface for easy fishage. I know that's not a real word, but if you want to be a visionary in literature, you gotta pull a Shakespeare and start coining your own terms. On Tentacles, with 5 uses, summons 3 tentacles in a random place around Wickerbottom. Useful for setting traps for bosses or farming tentacle spots and spikes, as there's only a finite amount of tentacles that spawn naturally. Birds of the World, with 3 uses, can make various birds of the season you're currently in land right by you. It's like the feathers and morsels just jump straight into your hand. Most people use this to farm Krampus. I think you'd have a better chance fighting Klaus to get the Krampus sack, but I guess a bunch of 1% chances are better than one infrequent 10% chance. Ever wanted to become the Bee Queen? Apicultural Notes, with 3 uses, summons 2 Grumblebees to fight for you. You can summon as many as 16, but you'd have to craft multiple copies of these books. Also, do not try to fight the Bee Queen, as she'll just mind control them and they won't be yours anymore. Reading books makes you a weather god apparently. Practical rain rituals, with 5 uses, is like the precipitation toggle on too many items, stopping or starting rain. Great for watering crops and negating the entire seasons of spring and summer. Speaking of which, tempering temperatures with 5 uses dries off wetness from players and items and resets their temperature to 35 degrees. Again, that's literally a command in too many items. She's cheating! The end is nigh with 5 uses makes a zephyr of lightning fall from the heavens. Be sure to wear protection lest you are fried with everything else in the vicinity. If there's a lightning rod or other conductive implement, it will strike there first. This thing just looks plain cool. Even if it doesn't actually do that much damage, I still use it in boss fights because who wouldn't want to smite their enemies with 100 million volts of God's wrath? This next one controls the element of fire in a way that will be sure to steal Willow's job. Pyrokinetics Explained, with 3 uses, can extinguish smoldering and flaming objects. After you've snuffed them out, it creates a unique item called a fire pen with a certain amount of durability depending on how many fires you put out. It acts like a rechargeable fire staff for use in charcoal and ash production, or the occasional barbecue. If that wasn't enough, she can use her books to control celestial objects. Lux Aeterna, with 3 uses, spawns a god ray which lasts about half a day. Its Redux, with 5 uses, is brighter and lasts for 2 whole days. Now you can light up boss arenas without needing to obtain a Starcaller staff. Don't try to use it in the caves as it will just cause an earthquake instead. Okay, maybe you do need one in that case. I can already see the comments. You need a Starcaller staff for the Celestial Champion, blah blah blah. No, I do not. I will never ever fight the Celestial Champion. You can debate me on that till you're blue in the face. I'm not doing it! In fact, here's a better use for that fucking stone. The Lunar Grimoire with 3 uses can make the current night a full moon and have the lunar phases continue from that point. I guess she got that spell from Skull Kid. Makes farming pigs easier as they respawn from their houses faster than the moon can cycle back to full. These last 3 books don't fit nicely into any category, so I guess they're the miscellaneous books. Overcoming Arachnophobia, with 5 uses, places down a spiderweb like seen around the perimeter of spider nests, which slows down everything that walks in it except other players. This has great potential for escaping pursuing monsters and has a nifty use during the Ancient Guardian fight. If you put a web down and make him charge into it, he will slow down dramatically but continue to run until he hits something, and when he does, he'll be knocked down for a lot longer. That's because the mechanism that decides how long he is stunned for uses his time charging forward. Now you can really wail on him. Even if Wickerbottom herself can't get any shut-eye, she can send everyone else into REM with sleepy time stories. With 5 uses, it's a renewable replacement for pan flutes and is useful in every circumstance you might need one. Now for the last book, but certainly not the least. The Everything Encyclopedia, with 3 uses, allows anyone nearby to prototype items at crafting stations 1 level below what would normally be required. Maybe, just maybe, you want to prototype a dark sword at a prestidigitator, which is exactly what I did during my playthrough, because who the hell wants to farm tree guards for shadow manipulators? You can also use it to craft the End is Nigh, as that recipe also requires a shadow manipulator. It only works once, so each craft requires an additional read, but your friends do get to keep their prototypes. But if the level is lowered, then some recipes won't restore any sanity. Reading can basically solve any problem you have, and grant you godlike abilities. Wickerbottom should be the spokesperson for Scholastic Corporation. That would really get those reading levels up. All this power in a single character? One can only imagine the potential when applied to a cooperative experience. Not only do the farming books make Wormwood even more of a champion of the dirt, but Warley's will have a variety of ingredients much sooner for powerful dishes. Although, tempering temperatures takes some of the utility from his spicy foods and fish cordon bleu. Wickerbottom is not the only one who can use these spellbooks, as Maxwell and Wirt can read them too. Maxwell can use them normally and cast the spells, but his sanity drops much more. I'm guessing because his brain isn't used to this novel type of magic. Wirt is the opposite. Her sanity is restored by what it normally costs to read any book, but she cannot cast spells. I spoke a little bit about some books having the same abilities as some characters, but do not misunderstand. They aren't perfect replacements. Fish Cordon Bleu makes you immune to wetness rather than just drying you off, and Pyrokinetics Explained doesn't give you access to Willow's more specialized fire spells. Teamwork is still vital. One of the best synergies that isn't really in the game anymore was Wolfgang, Warley, and Wickerbottom. Wickerbottom could increase crop production, Warley could then make his chili-boosted Vault Goat Jelly Chaufroid, and Wolfgang could fill his hunger to the max for peak damage. It's still technically doable, but Wickerbottom's spells for crops were nerfed and split apart, and Wolfgang's might isn't hunger-based anymore. In any case, I don't think anything can match the versatility of Wickerbottom. While her spells are powerful, they're well balanced by their lower durability and cost of entry. If you're playing in a co-op world, you need a Wickerbottom on your team. She's an invaluable inclusion and never disappoints. If you elect to fill that slot, you'll understand just how amazingly it feels to play Wickerbottom. Thank you so much for watching. If I missed anything, be sure to yell at me in the comments. Thank you to everyone who helped me make this video. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Stay sour.